Let's get right to the point because today I'm going to teach you how to make your writing less wordy. This video was requested by a subscriber of mine. She was struggling with wordiness in her writing. She can't really wrangle down her sentences as much as she'd like to. So today I have 6 tips that'll hopefully help all you guys out with your writing and just making your sentences stronger. By the way, my name's Brandon McNulty. I'm the author of Bad Parts, also the author of Entry Wounds, and welcome to my writing channel. So as I mentioned, today I have 6 tips for helping you cut down on the wordiness in your writing. And the first of these tips is obvious. It's one that a lot of writers, however, tend to ignore. Sometimes they avoid altogether. And it's that you need to make large-scale cuts to your writing before you worry about the sentence level stuff, before you worry about the fine-tuning. And the thing is, a lot of writers are uncomfortable with cutting things like chapters in their story, or cutting full scenes or events or anything that matters to them that is maybe larger than a paragraph. And you need to realize that if you're going to save time and you're going to cut down on words, you have to accept that a lot of the things in your story are unnecessary. And if it is unnecessary, you might as well just cut the whole thing. That'll save you from worrying about all the fine-tuning that gets done later on. So if you have something that you think maybe it doesn't belong in this story, chances are it's something you can get rid of. And then once you have everything that really needs to be there, that's when you worry about the fine-tuning. That's when you worry about my next 5 tips for today. And the second tip for today is to drop any unnecessary words from dialogue, especially if it makes your dialogue sound more natural. Now I have a couple of examples for you here. When I give examples today, I'm going to start with a wordy example, and then I'm going to show a revised version that's stronger and shorter. So let's say we're having a conversation between Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Luke says, "Wait, Obi-Wan, did you fight in the Clone Wars?" Now that line of dialogue is 9 words long, and it's also a little too formal sounding. And if we rewrite this, we can make it stronger and shorter. And here's what we'll get. "You fought in the Clone Wars?" And that, of course, is from the actual movie, the original Star Wars movie. And we cut out 3 words here. We take it from 9 words to 6. We make it sound more natural in the process. And, of course, it's stronger because of that. Tip number 3 is to avoid adverbs and instead use stronger verbs and stronger adjectives. You've probably heard by now that adverbs are bad for your writing, and that's because what they do is they usually prop up weaker verbs and weaker adjectives. Now I've got a couple examples for you. The first example shows an adverb that is describing a verb, and it goes, "She forcefully stepped on the gas pedal." Now this sentence is 7 words, and we can cut it down to 5 by simply adding a stronger verb to this sentence. And our rewrite is, "She stomped the gas pedal." So we actually, instead of having forcefully stepped on, we condense those 3 words into one, and we just condense it into stomped, which is not only just a stronger verb, but it's also very visual. Now here's another example, and the adverb in this sentence describes an adjective. "We bought a very large home." Now this sentence just sucks, it's weak, it's boring, and the word very is just one of the weakest words you can use in your writing. So let's rewrite it, and we'll just say, "We bought a massive home." That's a stronger adjective than large, and it makes the sentence stronger. We can also take things a little further. If you want to use a specific noun, you can get rid of the adjective. So we can rewrite the sentence, and we can say, "We bought a mansion." So instead of a large home or a massive home, a mansion. It's a specific noun that helps us cut down on word count. Tip number 4 is to cut down on prepositional phrases. Anytime you see a really long sentence, typically there are a bunch of prepositional phrases sprinkled in there. And usually you can cut 1 or 2 of them, or maybe even more. So here's a couple examples. First example, "The old captain never saw a shark in all his years of sailing along the Atlantic coast." And this sentence ends with 3 consecutive prepositional phrases. And we can cut out 2 of these. We can rewrite the sentence, "The old captain never saw a shark along the Atlantic coast." So in all his years and of sailing, we don't need those. And you might say, "Well, Brandon, isn't that important information? Don't we need that?" And I would say no, because when you open up the sentence by saying "the old captain," if you're saying the captain's old, an old captain is going to be a captain who is experienced. So we know that the captain has been sailing for years. It's not necessary information. Along the Atlantic coast, however, that is necessary to the sentence. Here's another example. "I hung the curtains above the window in the bedroom." This one ends with 2 consecutive prepositional phrases. We don't need either of them. We can rewrite this sentence and we can say, "I hung the bedroom curtains." So we took 2 prepositional phrases here and we condensed them into 1 adjective that describes curtains, makes the sentence shorter, to the point, and stronger. Tip number 5 is to use active voice instead of passive voice. I just did a video breaking down active voice versus passive voice. If you're interested in it, you can check it out up here. But I'm not going to go into detail in this video about it. Just going to give you a quick overview. Active voice, when we're talking about a sentence written in active voice, it's a sentence that begins with the subject, and then the subject is followed by the verb, which acts upon the object of the sentence. If we're writing a passive voice sentence, however, the sentence starts with the object, which is acted upon by the subject, and the subject is in the second part of the sentence. So here's a quick example of a passive voice sentence, and then I'm going to switch it to an active voice sentence. Now our passive sentence is, food was served to us by robots. So that's passive voice, and it's 7 words long, and anytime you have a passive voice sentence, it's going to be longer than an active voice sentence because you have to have was served or were served or whatever it may be. Now, when we rewrite it in the active voice, here's what we get. We take the subject of the sentence, which is robots, and we put it right at the beginning, and we say, robots served us food. So now, instead of having a 7-word sentence, by switching it over to active voice, we get a 4-word sentence, and we move things along a little smoother. Now, my 6th and final tip for today is to trim down your bloated phrases. And this is going to vary from writer to writer. Different writers might have sentences that are full of bloated phrases. You might have tons of bloat in your writing. Some writers, on the other hand, might have, just a little bit of bloat going on. But I think every writer out there, if you're editing your story, you can find some bloat going on. And if you do find that bloat, you need to find ways to either cut things out or trim things down. Now, here's an example. We need to make a decision on who will survive and who will die. So that's a 14-word sentence, and we can cut this down into 6 words. Here's the rewrite. We should decide who will die. Now, all I did with this, the sentence follows the same idea from beginning to end. I didn't switch anything around. I didn't get crazy here. I took need to, I condensed it to the word should. I took make a decision on, I condensed it to decide. And then I took who will survive and who will die, and I just split the difference here. I said, okay, we'll just say who will die because it doesn't matter either or. You got to pick one or the other. Now here's our final example for today. In order to enter the contest, George had to send a text message with the word Bosco to 3 friends he knew. That sentence is 22 words long, and we can cut this down because there's a lot of excess verbiage going on here, a lot of bloat. We can cut this down from 22 words to 12. Here's the rewrite. To enter the contest, George had to text Bosco to 3 friends. In the rewrite, we cut out in order right at the start. In order adds nothing to the sentence. Just start it off with to enter the contest. And then when we get into the main part of the sentence, George had to send a text message with the word Bosco? No, he didn't. George had to text Bosco. And then at the end, to 3 friends he knew. If he has friends, he knows them. We don't need to add he knew. So get rid of he knew at the end and then just say 2, 3 friends. If you're just paying attention to your writing and you notice that different things can be cut down, different things can be brought down from 5 words to 3 or from 6 words to 2 or whatever it is, if you keep an eye out for these things and you make the changes that are necessary, your sentences and your writing overall will get stronger. So I hope this helps. Question of the day, which one of these 6 tips do you think will help you the most going forward with your writing? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support the channel, please pick up a copy of either one of my novels. Also be sure to check out my other videos. Hit the like and subscribe buttons for me. Share this video with a friend. And as always, remember to keep on writing.